All of us love supercars and most of us probably dreamed of owning one, but then reality kicks in that most supercars out there are super expensive. Well, today I'm going to try to help and show you 6 of the cheapest supercars you can buy today. And by cheap, I mean cheap for a supercar. Real quick guys, before the video begins, I want to address a very common question I get almost every single day, and that is, where do I find the cheap cars that I feature in a lot of my car buying guides? Well, the answer to that question is Autotempest.com, and a big thanks for them for sponsoring this video. So before I even knew Autotempest existed, it was so time consuming going from car buying website to car buying website just to try to get the best deal. Autotempest serves as a one-stop shop by searching all the top car sales websites like Cars.com, Car Gurus, and eBay Motors all in one place. And check this out, you can even compare results with Craigslist, not just locally, but nationwide as well. Since Autotempest searches everywhere for you, not only are you going to save lots of time, but you'll also end up getting the very best deal. I highly encourage you guys to check out Autotempest.com, and if you find it as useful as I did, make sure and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to buy a car. And by the way, all the cars featured on this list were actually found on Autotempest, so make sure and check them out. The link will be in the description below. That said, let's begin the video. The first supercar on the list is a Chevy Corvette Z06. While many may be quick to say that this choice is not a supercar, the performance number this American sports car produces challenges those that are located towards the top of the automotive food chain, but at a fraction of the cost. The Z06 was first introduced in 2005 as GM's fastest car ever made, specializing in above average aerodynamics, corner and grip, and something commonly overlooked: braking performance. Corvettes in general have always been a performance bargain, but this monster of a car took it to another level. It comes equipped with a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine that produces a breathtaking 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. Acceleration-wise, it sprints from 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds and does a quarter mile in under 11 seconds when equipped with the 8-speed automatic transmission. And of course, for those that want to feel more engaged, it does come with a 7-speed manual gearbox as well. And what's more exciting than the performance numbers that Z06 produces is the price you can find them in the used market world. You can find a handful of C7 Z06 for around $50,000 with very low mileage. Let's take a step back and digest that for a second. A Corvette whose performance is in the same breath as Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and unlike those, you won't be afraid to daily drive it. Essentially, it's a commuter car that rivals the Aventador without having to pay house money. The one thing that the Corvette lacks versus the other high-end exotics is the interior. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. It definitely got better with the C7 generation. If you want a more affordable option, you can opt in for the C6 Z06, which is also one hell of a bargain as well. The next car is a Nissan GTR. This is the car Nissan took the sports car market by storm in 2008. At first, it was hard to get people to pay attention to it, since it was a Nissan. Things changed shortly after, and the GTR started to accumulate tons of respect. At the time, very few sports cars existed that could beat the GTR in a drag race or around the track. And the single most mind-blowing thing about this amazing performer is the price it sold for new at the time. They started at just $70,000. By no means is that cheap to most people, but comparing it to other supercars it competed with, it was definitely a bargain. Cars twice the price had a hard time competing. Today you can find them for almost half the price at just under $45,000. The package you get for that price is quite amazing. The earlier model GTR comes equipped with a 3.8-liter twin-turbocharged V6 that produces 480 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in just 3.3 seconds and a quarter mile run in 11.5 seconds, partly thanks to its lightning-quick dual-clutch transmission. Interesting fact for those that are looking into getting a GTR and have not owned a car that is as capable as this one. Nissan has said in the past that the GTR is probably the world's easiest and most secure high-speed car to drive fast, thanks to its all-wheel drive system, hefty weight of around 800 pounds and 176 pounds of downforce at high speeds. This is essentially a supercar that anyone can drive, as it's hard to get it out of control. One of the interior standout features is the multifunctional meter that shows things like water temperature, oil pressure, turbo boost, instant fuel consumption, steering angle, and even a G-force meter. If you're looking for a race car that is made for the street, the Nissan GTR is a great pick. The third cheap supercar on the list is a Porsche 911 Carrera S. You know I had to include a 911 even if it had to be a slightly older, non-turbo model. It has always set the highest level in terms of driver-focused sports car. Even back when it first rolled off the assembly line in 1965, Porsche had a mission to make it the world's best sports car, and arguably they have been able to hold that title for over the years. The 2009 model, which I'm featuring on this list, comes equipped with a naturally aspirated 3.8-liter 6-cylinder engine that produces 385 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It might not sound like much compared to some of the other cars on this list, but you know what? That's okay, because it has just enough to make it super effective around the track and very well balanced, making it great for canyon riding. It can complete a 0 to 60 run in 4.1 seconds, with some auto journalists being able to complete it in as low as 3.9 seconds. And of course, in order to achieve those numbers, you'll have to opt in for a 911 Carrera S equipped with the PDK dual clutch transmission, which is among one of the best ones in the industry. The 2009 model was actually the first one to carry the automated manual in any of Porsche's production cars. The interior is simple enough to keep you focused on the most important aspect of the car, the driving experience. You get rear seats as well, which won't really accommodate adults, but it can be perfect for small kids or personal belongings. The front seats won't disappoint neither, as they'll keep you in place around tight corners in the perfect driving position. The 911 will always be a classic that keeps getting better and more refined. Luckily for those looking for one, you can get a 2009 911 Carrera S for as low as $36,000. Next car is the Dodge Viper SRT10. If you're looking for a back to basics American muscle car that can crush the straight line as well as the track, then look no further. It proudly represents the Catchline 500, 500, and 500. It comes equipped with a massive 8.3 liter V10 engine with more than 500 cubic inches of displacement that produces 500 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. As you can imagine, this car means business. Not only does it reach a top speed of 190 miles per hour, but the engine pulls from almost any RPM range in any gear thanks to all the torque nearly being available right at the beginning. 0 to 60 happens in just 4 seconds, and it can complete a quarter mile in just 12 seconds flat. And it does all that while looking good. Its long hood, wide body stance, and side exit exhaust systems give it a very menacing look, one that surprisingly has aged very well over the years. The interior is a different story and nothing to be excited about, but you do get a 220 miles per hour speedometer that is sure to grab attention, and pedals that are closely spaced allowing you to heel and toe without much effort. There is even a quirky real dead pedal for the left foot. Believe it or not, the Viper SRT10 once defended its position as the most powerful production car in America, and now you can get one at a bargain. You can find them for as low as $28,000 with under 50,000 miles on them, and you'll be one of the very few people driving one, as they aren't as common on the road. Not to mention, it will add some serious excitement to your life. Fifth supercar on the list is the Audi R8. In my opinion, this is one of the coolest cars on this list. It's also the one car most people won't argue that it's not a supercar. No matter the age, the R8 can outshine most other cars in the looks department with its ageless design. Even today, a 2009 model still looks very modern. The R8 combines the best of both worlds. It offers the fun factor of a sports car with the comfort for everyday drivability, which is definitely an advantage over exotic sports car rivals. Some say that while driving an R8, it's so smooth it's very easy to forget that you're in an exotic sports car. And what stood out the most back when it was first introduced was its price point. In the category for mid-engine supercars for less than $120,000, the Audi R8 stood alone. Performance-wise, the 2009 model comes equipped with a 4.2 liter V8 engine that produces 420 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in as low as 4 seconds, partly thanks to Audi's famous all-wheel drive quattro drive system, which by the way, it's rear-wheel drive bias, supplying only up to 35% of all available power to the front axle, giving you a strong rear-wheel drive character in almost all scenarios. And for those of you that didn't know, the R8 shares the same platform as the Lamborghini Gallardo, which is one car I really wanted to include on this list, but I had a hard time finding them at a somewhat affordable price, so including the R8 was the next best thing. What is there not to like? You get a German supercar that features a timeless design, has capable performance in pretty much any driving scenario, and best of all, it can be daily driven, which means there is no need of owning a separate commuter car. Great news is that you can buy an R8 for as low as $50,000. Sixth and final supercar on this list is the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Even though it was known in the past as Aston Martin's entry-level sports car, let's just say there really isn't anything entry about it. First of all, the first thing most people think about when they hear the words Aston Martin is James Bond, and that alone makes owning the car worth it. It also looks as stunning today as it did when it first launched, courtesy to Henrik Fisker's styling. And back when the 2008 model released, it was arguably the best handling sports car Aston Martin has ever made. The exhaust note is also one of its highlights, many saying it was one of the best sounding cars of that era. Performance wise, I wouldn't say it's too impressive. In fact, it's the least powerful car on this list. The 2008 model, which is the one I'm talking about, comes equipped with a 4.3 liter V8 engine that produces 380 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in a measly 5.2 seconds. Doesn't really sound like numbers from a supercar, but in my opinion, the V8 Vantage makes up for it with its exclusivity, class, and styling. And like I said before, the design is timeless. The older ones look pretty much as modern as the newer ones, and instead of paying around $100,000 for a newer one, you can pay around $35,000 for a clean 2007 or 2008 model. If you necessarily need more power, you can spend not that much more and opt in for the 2009 model that came equipped with the more powerful 4.7 liter that pushed out 420 horsepower. Alright guys, that was the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure and hit that like button. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe with notifications on. That way you don't miss out on my next video. So I'm curious, which of the 6 cars that I featured on this list do you like the most? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.